Today I'm going to be making some really fast mini apple pies. So for this recipe you're going to need some pie dough. I have an egg for egg wash, some apples, and some granulated sugar with a little bit of cinnamon mixed in. So those are the simple ingredients, so let's get started. I'm going to get down some all-purpose flour. That is my general flour that I use, also called my bench flour. That's because I use it on my work area. And I'm just going to start rolling this out. And as always, when you're rolling out any kind of dough, you want to rotate it. Okay, this keeps the integrity of the circle, and it also, helps with an even thickness throughout. And whenever you find that your dough is starting to stick, you can just take a little bit more flour and get it underneath. And then just move it around, and then you're ready to roll again. I do have a link to this recipe for this dough at the end of my video. Okay, that looks pretty good. On to my next step. So I've got a few of these little mini tart molds, and I'll just measure them very quickly. 4.5 inches long by about 2.5 inches wide. And that's what I'm going to be using today. So what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to grab my mold, and then I gently want to get this into the mold. And what you want to do is you never want to force your dough in there. Just drape it over and let gravity pull that dough into where it's supposed to go. And then I'll go around with my thumb and I'll just cut the dough. So as I'm pushing, when I'm just about to push down, I always give a little bit more dough, so push with my thumb forward, so I'm getting a little bit more dough on the inside that I can work with later. Around. And there's one. And then just push it against the sides. And I'll do it again. So drape it over and just let it fall into place. And there's number 2. I'll do another one. Drape it over. You can cut it like this, or what you can do is you can grab your rolling pin and just go over it like that. That also does a great job. And there's another one. So I'm going to make a few more of these and I'll come back in a second. Okay, all of my bottoms are ready to go. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab some of my apples. I'm going to peel these and dice them, and then I'll be back in a second. Okay, these are ready to go. So what I'm going to do, make this super simple today, I am just going to pop these into the little tart pans. Now you'll notice that I did not dock the dough because I don't want any of the moisture going through and getting, baked onto the bottom of the pans. So at this point here, I am just going to load these up with a lot of apples. So I'll keep doing this and I'll come back in a second or so. So what you want to do is pack these up high enough, because as they bake in the oven, what's going to happen is the moisture is going to come out of the apples and they will go down a little bit. So you do want to have, a little mound on each one, and try to get all the little areas where there are little holes, fill those up. And that looks pretty good. I like it just like that. So I did make 5 of these. I'm only going to do 4 for today for this video. Okay, now to make this really easy, instead of mixing the apple with the sugar and the cinnamon, I have a mix of sugar in here and a little bit of cinnamon. And then I'm just going to simply take the little shaker and just shake it on right on top. And as this bakes, that sugar and cinnamon will get right into all of those apples. So you can really kind of control how much you want to put on here. So I like that. That's good, like that. Okay, so this was the little piece of dough that I had left over, and I'm just going to get this rolled out. And then I have this extra one that I didn't use, so we've got 4 that we are going to use for this recipe, and I am just going to cut around this. I'm just going to use this as my template. I'll just cut another one about the same size. And a third one. Okay, so I've got 3 done. So you get the idea. We'll grab our first one. And what I want to do before I apply it, I've got a little piping tip here, and I'm just going to cut out a few holes for the steam. And then I can take this and just lay it over the top, and you can either go around with your thumb and kind of push in like this, or you can use a fork. For today I'm just going to go around like this. So I'm just taking my thumb and just depressing it into the dough underneath. Doesn't have to be perfect. That looks just beautiful, just like that. Okay, I'll leave that there so we can see it. And then I'll do another one. So you want to just check it. If you find that your dough has, you know, shrinked or shrunk a little bit, you can just take your rolling pin and just roll it out a little bit. So we'll do our little air vents. And grab the pie and get that right on there. And I do have my oven set to 400 degrees Fahrenheit. So I've got 2 left. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to whip through the rest of them, because you see the, you know, the concept how I'm doing this. So I don't want to bore you with, you know, doing 2 more of these. But there we go. Doesn't that look nice? So there's 2. So I'll finish off these extra 2, and then I'll come back in a second. So these are all done now. And now on to our next step. I have 1 egg, and I put in 1 tablespoon of water. And I'm going to be using this for my egg wash. So a very, very simple egg wash, and this is going to give a really nice finishing touch to the top of our little, you know, tarts. All right, that looks good. And then we are ready to go. Now, this is 1 egg and 1 tablespoon of water. You can do 1 tablespoon of milk if you wish. You can remove the white and only use the yolk, or you can use just the yolk and a little bit of water and a little bit of milk. Everybody has their own way of doing it. You can do it whatever way, you know, that you like to do. So I'm going to get this on here. Nice, generous amount. And the little holes are for the release of moisture when, you know, our little apple tarts are baking. So I'm going to get all of this on here. And then for the final touch, what I'm going to do on the top is I'm going to put a little bit of sugar. And today I guess I will just use regular table sugar, granulated white sugar. Sometimes I use raw sugar, and sometimes I use just regular sugar. I'll just move these into the middle here so you can see a little bit better. We'll grab some sugar. So this is just regular granulated sugar, and just sprinkle that on. So my oven is set to 400 degrees Fahrenheit. That looks good. That looks perfect. Now when you're baking pies, always put them onto a baking pan or sheet, because if you have any of the moisture coming out, it's much easier to clean it off your tray than it is to clean out your oven. So there we have it. So off to the oven, and I'll come back a little later on. I'll tell you exactly how long I baked them, and I'll show you the final product as well. So off to the oven. Alright, I'm back, and my beautiful little mini apple pies baked for a total of 30 minutes at that 400 degrees. So they have cooled down a little bit. They're still warm, but what's so nice about the removable bottom is that you can get your fingers under there, and you can just give some gentle pressure and just be very, very slow and gentle, and the little apple pie should just pop right out. And look at that. Doesn't that look amazing? And I will zoom in, so don't worry. Look at that. Oh, and it smells so good. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to unmold all of them and then I'll come back in a second. Alright, I'm back and I unmolded the rest of the beautiful little mini apple tarts. So here we have them. I wish you could be here. They smell really, really good. So the last thing that I'm going to do for this video, I'm going to cut into this one just to show you what it looks like inside. So let's cut into our beautiful little apple tart. And I'll show you what it looks like inside. Oh, that smells so good. So I hope you enjoyed watching this video. I really had fun making it. That's it for today, and I'll see you next time.